guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been so long since I have filmed. Today is September 1st, and I think it's been since the beginning or middle of June that I have filmed a video. All of my videos that have come out this summer were pre-recorded, and the video before this was my last one that has been published. As of now, it'll be on Monday, but by the time you're seeing this, it'll be last Monday. The reason I did this was because my husband is deployed and he was supposed to be home by now, but he has been delayed in the Middle East. By the time you're watching this, hopefully he will be back. I figured a vlog would be the perfect thing to film while I'm still home alone with my kids. So that is a little bit of an update on my life. My Fall in Love seasonal reading challenge just started on Instagram. If you are interested in it, I will always link my Instagram down below, and I do have a highlight with all of the information as well as recommendations and the bingo boards that I do. It'll have a total of 3 different boards, each with 25 prompts, and it is a 3-month-long challenge, and it's really flexible. So anyway, I thought I would do a vlog where I start to tackle some of the books that I want to read for this challenge, so maybe 5 or so books, and I'll let you guys know what prompts I end up completing. I picked up my first book for this last night, and I am about 30% into it, and that is Tempting Taste by Sarah Whitney. I'll just read you guys the synopsis off of Goodreads, and that is: when a grumpy baker and brash marketing whiz collide, they'll either blend perfectly or turn into a recipe for disaster. After a chaotic childhood, all Eric Anderson wants is peace and stability. What a shock then to find himself quitting on the spot after a tornado of a woman storms his workplace and exposes the toxicity of his boss. Although Eric should be focused on locking down his next gig, he instead agrees to a wild business proposal from the beautiful chaos agent intent on upending his life. Josie Ryan spent years chasing her mother's approval and now fills the void by wowing clients with her buzzy PR events. So when the brooding baker with the gorgeous cakes ends up jobless, Josie leaps at the chance to prove her worth by turning his talent into an empire, assuming she can work alongside a reserved hunk who charms her in every grumble. Keep it professional, that's the first rule of a good partnership. Soon enough though, Josie and Eric have dropped their defensive walls to explore the potential of their sweet and salty relationship. But as the business grows, their clashing definitions of success threaten their happy equilibrium. Can they resolve their differences to form the perfect fusion, or will the heat force one of them out of the kitchen? As you can tell from the synopsis, the hero is a baker and the heroine works in PR. They end up having this really interesting meet cute. And he is a grumpy hero, she is a sunshine heroine, so it's that grumpy sunshine trope that I really enjoy. I have a feeling this is going to be a really slow burn romance because at the 30% mark they haven't even kissed or anything. There hasn't even been a lot of sexual tension or romantic tension yet. It's mostly just them working together. And from reviews that I read, I believe it is a slow burn romance and that maybe the middle portion is a little bit on the slow side. I got this one for free. It was free a couple of weeks ago and a friend of mine had posted it in her story, so I picked it up. And I was kind of just in the mood for something like this. I could count it for several different prompts. So I could count it for a book that was published before 2021. So while this particular cover was a 2021 redo, the book itself came out last year in 2020. I could also do a new to me author because I've never read anything by Sarah Whitney before. Starting challenges is so fun because all of your prompts are available to you, so I could count it for so many different things. So yeah, I will update you guys when I get further into this book. I don't know if I'll wait till I finish it or when I'm like over halfway or whatever, but I will come back and update you guys when I have more thoughts about it. Okay, so it's about 3:30 p.m. and I just finished Tempting Taste by Sarah Whitney. And I was kind of unsure about this book just because it was very sweet, very slow burn, and it is third-person POV, which isn't my favorite, especially if the chapters aren't headed with the characters' names. It can get a little bit confusing for me and it kind of takes away from the story a little bit. So that element I didn't enjoy, but I did end up really enjoying this romance by the end. I was thinking I was going to rate it somewhere between 3 and 3.5 stars, but I think I'm going to give it 4 stars because I did really like the ending. I did like Josie and Eric together. If you like things that have to do with baking or heroes or heroines that have bakeries, you would really enjoy this because Eric is really into baking and him and Josie kind of renovate this bakery together. They both have some issues from their past, kind of like daddy and mommy issues, and they are forced to face those things by the end. And it was really sweet. It's a low angst read, not a lot of drama, and the conflict in here isn't dragged on too long. So if you're looking for something sweet, I think you would enjoy this one. I think I decided that I'm going to count it for the prompt a new to you author, and I definitely will read this author in the future. I want to continue on in the series. The ebooks are kind of expensive, like $5 each, so I did recommend my library obtain the next book in the series, so we will see if they end up doing that. The next book that I plan on reading just came out today, so I am really excited to pick it up. And that is Not So Charming by Fabiola Francisco, and it's the first book in a new series that is called The Carlisle Sellers. That's a little bit of a mouthful, Carlisle Sellers, but I am really excited to read it. I think it's probably a small town romance. I will read you guys the blurb. I vowed never to return to my hometown and the people who lived there. Now unemployed and needing a place to live, I moved back with my mom, promising myself that it's only temporary. When small-town charmer Miles thinks his charisma will work on me, he's got another thing coming. I want nothing to do with him and what he represents in this town. He's everything I ran from when I left and never looked back. Miles is persistent in his pursuit no matter how many times I turn him down. What could a guy like him want with a girl like me? We come from two different worlds, one where mine serves his, but I need a job and his family's winery is the only place hiring. Working alongside him, I see a different side to him that I thought was non-existent. Hatred turns to curiosity, and soon I'm wondering if there's more to the man I thought I knew growing up. Not So Charming is a feel-good romance. If you like hate to lovers, witty banter, and swoon, then you'll love this small-town romance. So yes, definitely small town romance. I've read 2 other books by Fabiola before, and I really enjoyed both of them. One of them was a full-length novel, and the other one was a novella, and both I really liked. I believe this one is only about 200 pages, so it sounds like a really quick read, and it could count for the prompt as enemies to lovers. It also could count for other prompts, but I feel like it would work best for this one. I do love enemies to lovers. I do love small town, and it sounds like it is kind of the storyline of 2 people from the opposite sides of the tracks. Sounds like he is more privileged and she might have had a rougher past. It sounds really good, and I do like things surrounding wineries. It's kind of a little random thing in romances that I do like. So when I end up making some progress in this one, I will update you guys probably tomorrow. Okay, it's the following morning and I am now halfway through Not So Charming by Fabiola Francisco, and this is a really cute romance so far. I am enjoying the small town aspect, and I do like our 2 main characters, Miles and June. So they know each other growing up. June grew up in this small town. Miles' family is really well to do. They own this big winery estate and they provide a lot of jobs for a lot of people in this small town. And June's mother has always worked for the family. I think she is their chef or something like that. But she was always considered like the help. But June's mother always respected the Carlisle family. June left their small town. She pursued a life in LA, but she lost her job recently, so that is why she's returning to her town. So she's living back with her mother. And she ends up needing a job, and the Carlisle winery is hiring for like a tour guide, someone who does the wine tastings, just a part-time job, but she would be working directly with Miles. And June has a lot of resentment towards Miles because in school she was bullied a lot, and his friend group was some of the people that bullied her. And he never spoke up, so she just considered him one of them, thought he was just a jock, everything was handed to him. They were kind of like playmate friends when they were younger because her mother worked for his family. And then as they got older, they drifted apart, and she thought that he was kind of just a mean person. But of course, there's stuff beneath the surface, and she doesn't know that he didn't really feel that way about her. So while this is labeled as enemies to lovers, I don't really think it is. So I'm definitely not going to count it for that prompt. I'll probably use it for the under 300 pages prompt, because it's about 200 pages. I think it's like just over. Instead of enemies to lovers, June does have some resentment towards Miles, and she doesn't like him at first, but he has no issues with her. He wants to date her immediately almost. He's always had a thing for her, and he's happy she's back in town. He wants to hire her at the winery. So I definitely would not say it's enemies to lovers. It's one-sided, but even still, I am really enjoying it. It's really cute. They just had their first kiss at the halfway mark, which isn't unusual, especially for a book this short. So I think it came at the right time. I am looking forward to see where their romance goes. So when I end up finishing, I will come back and update you later. Okay, so it's the end of the night and I just got my kids down for bed. And if I look like a hot mess, it's because today was pretty rough. And I'm just really happy they are down for bed. and that's why I look probably a little frazzled. But I ended up finishing Not So Charming by Fabiola Francisco earlier this afternoon, and I did really enjoy this one. It is super low angst and very sweet. And there were a couple twists toward the end that were definitely drama filled, but they were unexpected, so I did enjoy it a lot. And I do want to read the rest of the series because this is the first book in a new series. And the overall town and the characters I do really like. So I'll definitely be continuing in the series. I think there's like 3 or 4 books that are going to be in the series. I think she already released some of the covers. And like I said, I think I'm going to count this for the prompt of a book that is under 300 pages. After reading 2 really sweet books back to back, I need something a little bit angstier, and Emily McIntyre definitely writes more angstier romances, at least the 2 that I've read by her in the Sugar Lake series, which were Beneath the Stars and Beneath the Stands. So I want to continue on in the series. There's 4 total books. The next one is called Beneath the Hood. So I'll just read the synopsis to you. It says, Blakely, my life is a stage, followed by millions and loved by none, and me, the captain of control, steering my image through choppy waters, making sure I stay on top. No one ever sees me, no one ever looks, until him, but he's everything impossible and 1,000 shades of wrong. Falling for him would ruin everything I've worked for, so why can't I stay away? Jackson. My life is a backup plan, surrounded by friends and loved by none, and me, the king of heartbreak, gluing my pieces back together, making sure they stick. No one ever sees me. No one ever looks. And tell her. But she's everything off limits and 1,000 shades of sin. Falling for her would ruin everything I've worked for. So why won't she stay away? Beneath the Hood is a full-length interconnected standalone and book 3 in the Sugar Lake series. The series can be read in any order, however, it is highly recommended you start with book 1 to enhance your reading experience. Beneath the Hood features strong language, explicit sexual scenes, and mature situations, which may be considered triggers for some. Reader discretion is advised. So I remember Jackson from the first couple of books, and I've been really excited for his romance. I just have a feeling that Emily will make me feel something with this book, and that's what I'm looking for, is to kind of have the will they or won't they that I so desperately love. So I'm really excited to read this one. I'm not sure what prompt I'm going to use it for yet, so when I end up reading some and updating you guys tomorrow, I will also update you on what prompt I think I'm going to use it for. I know it's like over 400 pages, so it's a little bit on the longer side, so I could use it for the over 300 pages prompt, but I guess we shall see. Okay, it's the next morning and I am now 33% into Beneath the Hood, and I am enjoying it so far. Like I said, it is over 400 pages, but even with it being a little bit on the longer side, it doesn't feel like it's moving slow or anything. So our 2 main characters are Jackson and Blakely, and we met both of the characters in a previous book. Jackson was prevalent in both books 1 and 2, and Blakely was introduced, I believe, at the end of book 2. But you do not need to read the other books to read this one. I would just recommend it. So Jackson is from this small town called Sugar Lake. He was really into fixing up cars, and he got an opportunity to come to Hollywood and basically make custom cars for movies. And the person he's working for is a famous producer, and the producer's daughter's name is Blakely, and she's always been in the spotlight because of her father, and she is an influencer, and she's only 19 years old, whereas Jackson is almost 30, so there is an age gap there, and she is now working with him, I believe, at the shop that he works at with the cars. I think the dad is just trying to keep Blakely busy, so he kind of throws her off onto Jackson, and now they're working together a little bit. Because Blakely has always been in the spotlight, she has developed a lot of control issues. It's very apparent. She has a clear eating disorder. She tracks all of her calories. She over-exercises. She reprimands herself when she eats like a slice of pizza or a piece of cheese. She has anxiety attacks because of it. So if you are sensitive to that kind of content and undiagnosed eating disorder talk and people kind of just brushing it under the rug, I think this one wouldn't be for you. It is a little bit hard for me to read because of the content, but it's not like triggering or anything. But it is very apparent that she has an issue, and Jackson is kind of the first one that is starting to notice it and kind of call it for what it is. Like, he hasn't said the words already, but you can tell that he just notices something is up and that she acts a certain way in front of the spotlight, and then she's a different person when she opens up with him. So I am definitely connected to their romance and to the story. They have kissed a couple of times at this point, but obviously it hasn't gone further than that. I believe that she is a virgin, so it's kind of the virgin trope, but it's not like sensationalized. that's when it kind of bothers me, and when it doesn't work for me. I think it only works for me if it makes sense with the story and it's not like overdone, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'm gonna read more of this, and when I have more progress, I will come back and update you later. Okay, it's the next day, and last night I ended up finishing Beneath the Hood by Emily McIntyre, and I have some mixed feelings about this book. I enjoyed it, but I had some problems with it. I don't think it is the fault of the book or the fault of the author or the writing or anything. It's just some side characters really frustrated me. And the main heroine, she was definitely caught up in superficial things, and that ended up making her issues worse in regard to like over-exercising, having OCD, having an eating disorder. And no one else in her life called her out. No one else in her life tried to help her, including her own father. And it took having the hero in her life to get her better. So I'm kind of undecided on how I want to rate this. I'm thinking I'm either going to rate it 3.5 stars or 4 stars. I just don't really know yet. I think by the time I finish up this vlog, I will have a decided rating. So I will tell you guys then, but I'm feeling kind of undecided about this. I could also be feeling that way because I am extremely tired. My husband should be home from deployment really soon. I've been having really bad anxiety related insomnia, and it's all related to him coming home. This happens every time about a week before he comes home. So I've had it for several days and I am feeling so exhausted. Last night I only got 4 hours of sleep, so it is tough, especially with 2 children at home. But that is beside the point. I did enjoy this book, but it's for sure my least favorite in the series so far. I'm a little bit nervous for the last book because the heroine in the story is someone I did not enjoy from book 1. So I'm hoping that I do enjoy that story, even though I don't really like her. So yeah, undecided about that one. It did give me the angst that I was looking for, so that is a positive. Then I ended up picking up a book I checked out from my library, and that is called All I Ask by Corinne Michaels. And if you follow me on Instagram or Goodreads, you know that Corinne Michaels is kind of a hit or miss author for me. I've noticed I do enjoy some of her standalone books more than I do her series. So I have a feeling that I'm going to really like this one. I am almost halfway into it, and I will read you the synopsis so you can get a feel for what it's about. From the New York Times bestselling author of One Last Time comes a breathtaking story about first love, second chances, and starting over. Tegan Berkeley is trying her best. A single mom raising a precocious teen, she may have given up on her dreams, but she's accepted her life in her small beachside hometown. Now the one person who abandoned her when she needed him the most has returned, bringing back memories of what could have been. Derek Hartz arrives in town with a teenage daughter, and he's full of guilt over his failed marriage and the way he ended his friendship with Tegan. He's determined to set things right with her, but first he needs to gain her trust, something he's not convinced he deserves. As Tegan and Derek open up to one another and confess their deepest secrets, it's impossible for them to deny what's always been between them. But just when their happily ever after is within reach, their complicated history surfaces again and threatens to keep them apart forever. So this one I think definitely will have a lot of angst in the second half of the book. It's slow burn already because I'm over the 40% mark and nothing has happened between them, not even like an inkling of something. Like the synopsis said, it is about Derek and Tegan, who were teenage best friends. As it turns out, they always had crushes on each other but never shared that. And he was dating someone, she was dating someone, both in college. She ended up getting pregnant at like 21 years old. And he had a serious girlfriend at the time, and he ended up getting married and having a baby with her. He broke off his friendship with Tegan because Derek's wife gave him an ultimatum and said, if you don't break your friendship with her, I will not stay with you and you won't get to be around your baby. So he felt kind of trapped. He broke off his friendship without any kind of warning, without any kind of reason, and now it's been 13 years and they haven't seen each other, and he's back in the small town because his wife has passed away, and that's kind of where we're at. You can tell there is some drama from the past on Tegan's half, especially with her baby daddy, so I'm kind of curious how that is going to play out. I am enjoying it. It feels more like a women's fiction book at this point. It doesn't feel super romantic yet, and that is how I felt about her other standalone that I read this year. I think it came out this year, and I really liked that book. I gave that one 4.5 stars. I think it was called I Loved You Once or something like that, and I consider that more women's fiction than I did romance. It did have a romance in it, but it didn't feel like it was the forefront most of the time. and I'm kind of feeling that way about this one. So that gives me high hopes that I'm going to enjoy it a lot. I have two different prompts for my challenge that I could use this for. I could use it as a book cover without people on it, or a title that starts with the letter A. So yeah, I will come back and update you guys. So yeah, I'll come back and update you once I finish. It'll probably be tomorrow just because I think I'll finish once the kids are in bed. So yeah, I will update you guys later. Okay, it's the following day and last night I finished All I Ask by Corinne Michaels, and I was a little bit let down by this one. The romance in it wasn't very compelling to me. It felt less like romance and definitely more just like a contemporary book. And even if the romance was kind of not the center focal point, I could have gotten behind some of the outside elements being explored more, but they weren't that prevalent either. I do know that this one is traditionally published. I didn't know that till I was finishing it, and it said that it was published by Forever, and that might explain why I didn't really like this one all that much. I think I'll probably give it 3 stars. It wasn't bad or anything, I just was a little bit disappointed in it. I definitely preferred I Loved You Once, which she published this year. That one is a standalone. It is not so heavy on the romance, but the story was really good. The story of this one just didn't appeal to me quite as much, which I'm surprised by because I do love small town. I like friends to lovers, estranged friends to lovers, dual single parents. All of that is something I would enjoy. But yeah, it just didn't quite work for me. I am going to end the vlog here after I go over all of the books that I read, and I will get to that in a second. So the first book that I read was Tempting Taste by Sarah Whitney. I gave this 4 stars. Then I read Not So Charming by Fabiola Francisco. I also gave this 4 stars. Then I read Beneath the Hood by Emily McIntyre, which I gave 3.5 stars. And then lastly, I read All I Ask by Corinne Michaels, which I gave 3 stars. And I'm going to count this for the prompt of a book that starts with A. So the reason I'm ending the vlog here is because my husband is supposed to return this evening. He was actually supposed to return around noon today, and it is 10 now, but things kind of got held up, I think, mid-air. So I think he's supposed to land tonight. So I am leaving things on a good note. Even if for any reason he doesn't come today, by the time you are seeing this video, he will be home, because if worst case scenario, he would come home tomorrow. But yeah, I am really excited. I don't think I'll do much reading today. So instead I think I'll just edit this vlog because I don't think I could really focus on reading today. But I am really, really excited, and I am just ready to put all of this behind me. And yeah, I'm happy to leave this vlog on a positive note, even though my reading experience seemed to go downhill from first book to my 4th book. I am leaving this vlog really happy. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys have been reading. I would also love to hear if you guys are participating in my Fall in Love reading challenge. I am so excited for it. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I will link all of these books that I talked about down below, and I will see you guys on my next one. Bye.